Hey, Ringmasters, it's Brent Dunn and Steven with RingProfit, and we are going to be talking about something that scares a lot of internet basement dwellers, and that is sales.
Yeah, it's funny because we're so accustomed to being behind a computer screen, typing shit out and not having to talk to anybody, and people find relief in that. And usually it's like, I like the concept of the low-hanging fruit. It's like, that's the low-hanging fruit. If you want the bigger fruit of the fruit at the top of the tree, you got to do things that scare you sometimes. And this is one of them. It's for anybody, even if you have years of experience, the phone can still sometimes scare you, even at that point. And I like phone sales because not only do I have the experience doing that, but it's like it builds a character. It's like once you're able to control a phone call, if you're able to sell something to somebody over the phone, it's like, my God, you could, like, in person is like 10,000 times easier because you're face to face. Over the phone, it has to do with your tone, the pacing of it, the intro. Can they trust you? Can you trust somebody from hearing them? Let me ask you.
You can definitely tell when someone's sincere, I think.
Right. And
not as much as you can, obviously, with seeing them and like seeing how they react. But one thing, I don't know too much about sales, but one thing I do know is you don't want to use I words, meaning this I. You want to use ear words. So like revenue, like words they're used to and stuff.
yeah,
So,
and it's exactly like, so there's an element of trust there. And it's like, one thing I always want to say to people is, like, don't be combative over the phone. You're trying to help businesses. It's like, if anyone ever, which in this case, in PPC, because it's not SEO, they'll give you crap on that. For sure they'll give you crap on that. But if they ever give you a kind of like a hard time or some kind of attitude, never go back in a combative sort of rebuttal. So like, let's say someone's like, oh, I don't need it, and you're like, well, why don't you need leads? Well, of course you need leads. You're a business. If you have that attitude, you're butting heads. You never want to butt heads on a phone call, right? You want to, and like another thing too, because I've got all these things in my head. I remember when I was doing my trainings, they said, smile when you're calling somebody. As cheesy as that sounds, when you smile, it's
yeah,
a
it definitely
physiology.
works. It changes your voice.
Changes your voice, it changes your physiology. And then they could feel that. It's all about feeling. It's like what you feel, they feel. And I say this time and time again. It's like, if you have a shitty life, or if you're pissed off all the time or angry, or you have that pessimistic attitude in life, it's going to resonate on phone calls. So you got to work on yourself too. I mean, that's a whole freaking other discussion, but it's like, never butt heads. Like, always be understanding. Like, you're calling these guys, and their first, like, even you, like, if you get a call, your first instinct is like, especially if it's a sales call, it's like, oh, he's trying to sell me on something.
Yeah,
He's trying to scam me.
Yeah, you got to look at it like you're the business owner for a second. How would you portray this phone call, right? And then things get easier. You got to be personal, because especially in the US, we're getting slammed with robotic telemarketers nonstop. People from India calling us that our credit card has, needs to up our limit when you don't even have a credit card, like all sorts of stuff. So these business owners are getting slammed even more than consumers. And so they got their guard up right away.
Yeah, and you have to, that's a very good point. You have to understand that. Like, even I recently got a call from an Indian guy, like a call center in India, trying to tell me that, and I know you guys get it too for the IRS. It's like the IRS scam, or here it's like the CRA scam. And the guy's telling me, he's like, I'm in shit. There's a warrant for my arrest. I didn't pay my taxes, or I fumbled on my taxes. And like, he's saying all the shit. I'm like, first of all, I get a letter. If there's any kind of shit going on, like, unless I did like fraud outright, like I hit like $50 million.
And a lot of them are through the phone. So
yeah,
these business owners, they know that, and so they're super defensive right out the gate.
Exactly. So understand that. Just be cool about it. And the best way to like, okay, so like you mentioned personalization, and so in sales you have sort of like the intro. I'm gonna try to do this right on the, oh wait, yeah, the intro. Then you have the question phase. Then you have the personalization phase. Our question personalization goes to the same. Then you have the pitch. So you're pitching them on what you're going to sell, and then you close. Literally, that's the format. Like, you could pay, companies pay big time. They'll pay like $500,000 for sales trainings for their sales team, and they literally, that's the thing. So it's like intro, then you go to questions, personalization, pitch, close. You close for the sale. Now in PPC, what I found, because we followed, like, I did that model for SEO, but in PPC, you can be a little bit more direct. It's like you get straight to the point. They're busy. It's no problem. Just say, hey, look, I've got leads I could send you, to quality leads. Like, is that something that would interest you?
Yeah,
And
that's what I found actually is going. So instead of being the salesy guy, I like to connect with them on a business level. Hey, like, hey, I know you're busy. I'm busy too. I'm getting these leads. Is that something that would interest you? Now, if they say
right.
no, be like, you can have a rebuttal as far as another benefit to them, not like arguing with them, but providing benefits of why. Because most people's instinct, no matter what it is, especially on the phone when they're in defense mode, is no. They want to say no as quickly as possible and hang up. So getting past that first no and second no and third no, that's where I've had problems, but it became easier over time, especially with leads. And it's also something that I am very confident in, and that shows when I'm talking to people. However, when I first, was doing SEO and stuff, for example, I wasn't really confident in my ability, and that showed, and people didn't want to work with me, because that they could tell I wasn't confident on the phone.
Exactly. And, like you have to believe, this is another thing, you have to believe into your product. The PPC, of course, you believe because we know we could send them quality leads. So when you believe that and you've seen firsthand proof of these businesses benefiting off you sending them leads, it makes you more confident for the next calls. For sure, you're going to get no. Like if I pick somebody, or like let's say I call somebody, I say they're interested, like no, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not gonna have a combative attitude. I'm like, oh, hey, no problem, cool. Like, well, the thing is, because I've sent these companies leads, they've done a lot. Look, if you're not sold on it, let me just send you a couple, see if you like it. And it's sort of like that attitude, right? I don't have to hard sell them, right? In SEO, if you've done sales, any kind of sales, you're taught to hard close, get the credit card, personalize and move on. But you don't have to hard sell on this point. It's like you could do a soft sale, and that works just fine because you're sending them. Like they have no advertising, and like in sales in general, it's just the attitude that you come to it. Like I said, if you're calling up companies and businesses, if you can't personalize, like for example, roofing, right? My mom just did roofing. She had her whole roof done, so I already know about that. I could personalize easily with a roofing company. Yeah, my mom did it. Just throw your mom. My mom did it. I did it for her. I had to call roofing companies. Like you personalize, and that builds trust, and that keeps that client for the long term. They trust you.
And the cool thing is you can pre-qualify people before even calling them. So the internet, with the power of the internet, you can research everything about them. You can probably find out the owner's name. You can figure out, which regions they serve. You can figure out all this stuff. So one of the main things is doing the research first. So instead of just calling them up and being like, hey, you want to buy some leads, you can hit them with things that they already know are valuable. And what I mean by that is if you already know the highest income area codes or zip codes where you live or where they serve, where they're doing their work, you can hit them with, hey, are you interested in, say Rancho Cucamonga? Say that that particular area has a huge income, average income. You can start naming off places that have large incomes where the quality will be extreme. So basically you can call these guys up and be like, are you interested in leads from this? And just name off all the highest quality places that they travel to, and they'll be much more engaged. And if you just call them up without even knowing anything about the area, plus knowing a lot about their business ahead of time will help. Like if you call up and be like, hey, is this Tom? Hey, Tom, how's it going? It's a lot easier than saying, hi, do you want to buy some leads? That's super impersonal.
Yeah, because like in PPC, okay, again, for those of you at home or whoever's watching this, you have to understand in sales, generally, like in a call center, they're gonna give you a list, and you have to dial this. Like you have to dial each business, and like you just mentioned right now, like, hey Tom, how's it going? Right? Like this is Brent with RingProfit, for example. Well, in the traditional sense, you have to you have to call each business, and you don't even have time to research them. Like they don't want that. They want volume. These companies, like call centers. So you have to call, and you got to learn all that personalization on the phone, what they do, this and that. So but in PPC, you could do your research. You can make it a lot easier for you because you don't need like hundreds of clients in one area. You don't need like hundreds of businesses in just one little area. That's the beauty about local.
That's our advantage. Like you mentioned, the corporations, they have a terrible close rate, but they make up for it in volume. A 1% close rate on 500,000 calls a day it works for them. But with us, we don't have to do 500,000 calls. In fact, like Steven just said, our client base, we only need one client, and it could basically put food on our table for each month if that client is, a high paying client. It's doing the research first, preparing yourself. And the thing I found is, I'll be the first to tell you that I was, it's not like I was naturally good at sales. I got better with it when I actually did the research that would also build my confidence, which was the thing I lacked. And if I ran out of, just having the information in front of you and knowledge about the entire region, you can go toe to toe with that business owner about, exactly where you can generate the leads, as opposed to other marketing sales. You don't, if you just call them up, they're going to have no information.
Yeah. And so it's not a volume game at this point. And, it's a lot harder to personalize too. It's like, it all comes down to personalization and trust. You want to build the trust. You want to throw jokes in there too. It's like, if I'm talking to the guy, I'm like, hey, this is Steven from RingProfit. Like, this is what we do. In your area, we're building up properties. Like, I just want to make sure you take full advantage of this. Shut the hell up. Don't say nothing. Dead silence. You got to wait for them to give the buy-in. You got to wait. They say something and then you jump on that. Usually if they say, no, I'm not interested, like, okay, well, no problem. But like, just so you know, I could send you leads right now. I'm not going to charge you a dime. I just want to make sure that they're good quality. You can check them out. No charge at all. Shut up. You got to leave the pauses. And then then they're going to think about it. You understand? So it doesn't always work like that, but the percentage is far higher with PPC than a regular SEO, where it's like, holy shit. It's like looking at like conversion rates on mobile offers, like 0.5%, like,
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'm going to share with people that I've been doing for a while is, with call tracking tools, you can put a thing called a call whisperer. Now, this strategy is for people that are absolutely terrified of sales. For whatever reason, you can't mentally get over that. You can't find someone to do the sales side for you. Use this method. You get a call tracker and you put a call whisperer on. So basically you start generating leads before you even get a client, and you send those leads to a list of people that you believe are a good potential client. And every time they answer the phone, they'll hear like, free lead from youragency.com. You want to keep your domain short, but now that makes it even easier if you finally call them up, because then you can say, hey, I've been sending you leads already. How have they been working out for you? And let them start the conversation and then merge that over to selling them.
That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know about that, to be honest. Like, my strategy, because we all have our own strategies, and me, I have a VoIP phone. Like, if you're starting out, you obviously, if you have no other phone, you use your home phone or your cell. But eventually you reach a point where you get a VoIP phone, like for something from like Ring Central, which I have. You get a headset, and like one of the headset, like this way, I'm not like this. I have the headset on. I could take down notes. I could write it down. I could walk around. You'll get to that stage. But that's something I didn't know. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna implement some of that. But now that I think about, the headset stuff, is like, we spoke about this earlier today. It was like, motion creates emotion, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times if you're doing sales calls and you're just sitting, like, if I'm sitting like this for like an hour, yeah, I'm gonna start getting tired. Like, maybe I need a coffee. But if I get up and I start walking around, motion creates emotion. And then you get that energy. It's like physiology. It just changes everything. So I usually like to walk a lot of times.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I noticed that I just naturally get up and I start pacing around.
Yeah, it helps. It helps with the thought process.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to sales, it's a no-brainer. A lot of times it's just do it. Jump right into it. Dive right in. Don't have, like, if you screw up, who cares? There's like, my God, there's so many businesses that, if like 100,000 people are calling every day, you're just not going to reach every business. Businesses aren't going to be there. Or, you get a business on the phone, you screw up. It's like, don't worry about wasting that. It's like, you have to learn. You got to do it first. And I think I can honestly say, after the first week of you doing calls, you're going to feel like 100% more comfortable. Like, if you've never done it before, give a solid week. Just, pull up your big boy pants and do it.
My problem is when I first got started, I built it up in my head that it was going to be scary. And what was I scared of? I don't know. But when you're scared of something, like when you mentally prep yourself to be scared of something, you start building it up and it becomes a bigger problem than it actually is. And it wasn't until I absolutely had to do calling that I finally did it. When you're down to your last dollar and you have to make some money, it's amazing how quickly you can turn around and start doing the calling. But after I did it, yeah, you know, am I 100% confident in it with everything? No, but I'm able to at least do it. One thing I did notice though is I have to be in the right mood, basically. Like sometimes I'm just not as energetic. I'm just, you know, would rather, you know, bust out some tunes and just write or program or do whatever I need to do. But other times when I'm full of energy, that's when I have to do the call, because people will realize that the other person on the line will feel that energy and they'll feel that you're excited. So what you're offering must be exciting. But if you're sitting there being dull, they're not going to be very excited.
Yeah, and I think part of this too, like I have to say this, is like once you see the profit that you can make from this, like once you see it's a sustainable business and this is long term and like you start making some real good money from this, that will even motivate you more. You're gonna be like, okay, you get up, even if you're not feeling good, it's like, if I'm not feeling good, it's like I get into a good state. Either I put on music right away, I just listen to music, or I just, you know, do some push-ups or do something actively. Like emotion creates emotion. Go for a jog, get back, you're gonna feel good, you get in a call, you're great. Because there, you have to understand too, is like, if people saw how much money you can make from this, that will motivate them. They won't be scared of the call. You know, it's like, um, I can't find an example right now. It's just, that's how it is for me personally. Like I don't know how it is for you, but for me, it's like once I saw the profits from this, I like doing affiliate stuff for a long time. I'm like, oh my god, this is so easy. Like just pick up the phone, tell the client you're gonna send them leads, and you're good
Well,
to
yeah,
go.
because then you'll be able to mentally put like a metric to it, right? You know, you called 10 people, you got one client, and it turned out to be a $3,000 a month job. It takes 10 minutes, or it takes, you know, averages 5 to 10 minutes per sales call. So you basically just scored a $3,000 client in about an hour and a half. When you start to have those metrics, it becomes much easier. And then, you know, some people get comfortable. They don't want to call any new clients once they get a certain amount. Other people are nervous that they shouldn't call clients until they start generating leads. So if you don't feel comfortable that you can even do it, kind of use the method that I mentioned earlier where you just generate leads first. However, don't get comfortable with just having one client, because the beauty of it is unlike SEO, for example, where you only have one client and it doesn't make, you can't really score another client and say, hey, I'm going to, you know, I'm helping your competitor rank, but I'm going to rank your website too. It's not like that. It's basically you can sell 2 plumbers leads, and whoever's paying the most, or you know, whoever's available at that time, that's who gets the lead. So you have a lot of options. So having more clients is actually a good thing on the back end, because it allows you to make more money per lead. And if you ever went down the road where you wanted to do non-exclusive leads, meaning you multi-sell those leads, as long as you let your clients know for like a lower price point, that gives you those options. So regardless, you're going to have to get good at sales unless you find someone that does it for you.
Yeah, it always comes down to sales. Like I had the best software out there. If I didn't get sales, I'm nothing. And the beauty about sales too, about phone sales specifically, is that when you have the balls or the guts to do it and you start doing it, it's like that washes over to other areas of your life. You just start becoming more confident. You can control conversations. You just feel better about yourself. It's like you're not hiding anymore. It's like, wow, I did this. I made a call. Like I landed a business. Like holy shit. And like the first few times, I can't explain how amazing it was. Like I remember that. I was like, wow. And the fact that now I don't have to call 200 to 300 businesses a day to get one. Actually, I don't even get sales for like 3 4 days. This is the SEO world. So you're calling like over 1,000 businesses. You get maybe one sale if you're lucky. And this, it's like maybe 1 in 10, 1 in 5. One day you can get 3 sales in a row. Like it's amazing. It's like when that happens, it's like shit. It's like it's like running an offer and like a mobile offer, and conversions are popping, which they don't happen much often anymore. So at least now you have full control over that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the whole calling clients and managing them and stuff, the beauty of it is you never have to call the same business again. Obviously, if you score a client or you go down like 3 months down the road, you can call up the same potential clients. But the beauty of it is there's so many cities in the United States, so many whatever cities in Canada. There's so many different types of businesses that you have unlimited options to figure out a niche that you can carve out. Like Stephen and I were just talking, I believe it was yesterday, about a company that I found that literally just does web design for limos, for limo services. So that's it's not a huge niche, but they definitely carved out a very sub niche, and it's working for them because they dominated that sector. And you can do the same thing, be it taking over a specific city, or be it taking over a specific niche and just hopping from city to city and growing it out that way.
Yeah, and guys, and girls, I should say, don't think that these businesses are out to get you or something. It's like that fear of like they're gonna be like, what the F, you call me, like F off and hang up. Like I never got that. I've never got an F you. I call over 10,000 businesses. I've never got an F you and hung up. I've got the hang ups because, it's the SEO thing, right? But don't be scared. Like they're not going to come jump right out and bite your head off. It's like, you know, every business, like when you do 1,000 calls, for example, and then you'll have full proof in front of you that these guys, they want business, they're cool, they're nice, they're understanding. Just understand where they're coming from too. Some of them are in a stressful position. Some of them, are struggling for money. It's like, and here you are calling them saying, I'm going to send you leads. It's amazing. It's the best mindset to be in.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is you can believe in the product. It's one thing to call it businesses when you don't believe that it's going to actually work. It's basically scammy, calling them up and you're not really sure if it's going to work. With this, it's a direct service. You either generate the lead and you get paid or you don't. Now, obviously you can go a bit scammy and send them low quality leads, but for those that want to stick around in the long term, you want to get your client as many sales as possible. The more they grow, the more potential, leads you can send them and stuff like that. So everybody wins. You make money, they make money, and even the actual person who is the lead, the person that was looking for the plumber, looking for the electrician or whatever, even that person is happy because they found a provider for their needs.
Yeah, and there's some like shitheads in the industry already who are scamming and shit. It's like, look, think about that for a second. You're trying to scam businesses, hardworking businesses, into like just so you can make a buck. It's like, come on, man. You can do that shit. Go back to mobile. Like, you're trying to help businesses, right? And those people have like no empathy. You need to have empathy when you're doing sales. You need to understand from the business perspective. You want to help these guys. And if you're calling, if your main goal is like, how can I use this now? How can I use PPC? How can I get into PPC and start scamming people? It's like, get the fuck out. Seriously, like get the fuck out. And I've seen that. You've seen that firsthand. Some of these guys doing their little circles and shit, to call up leads and stuff. It's like, man.
Like, that's the magic. Like, that's the other thing. Like with the pay-per-call affiliate networks, they're having a huge issue with this right now. There's guys signing up to pay-per-call. They'll go on Facebook and say Steven signs up to an affiliate network and I sign up to an affiliate network. I'll call his tracking number so he gets credit, and then he calls my tracking number so I get credit. I mean, those guys, you're just burning your entire name for what, $15? Like, what's the point of that? You're not going to be around for very long. So, the good news is with the local side, if you're working with a blue collar, business owner and you're sitting there sending him scammy shit, he'll do something about it. It's not going to be like the affiliate network who's, 500 miles away that can't do anything about it. So we're getting kind of off topic here. So, should we do another, like, I know there's a ton about sales. So should we
it doesn't end. Yeah. No, you know what? I just want to touch a little bit about sales. I gave a little bit of stuff. I mean, I would definitely love to get into a video of like what I do, maybe even some calls and stuff, but this is just sort of like an understanding of sales and that generally speaking, there is a process. And if you're going to learn, I mean, if you're getting into PPC, you have to learn. Like you have to get into, okay, I'm going to do this, follow the right step. It's like learning how to drive. You drive like this, like you follow all the rules. Then once you get comfortable, you kind of cater to yourself. It's the same thing in sales. You've got the intro, you've got the questions and personalization, where you personalize with the company. You actually show that you're not a robot, you're a human. Then you get into the pitch, then you get into the close, like those 4 steps. And once you master that, then you could do it however you want. You could be direct if you want. But I say for anybody starting off, like just kind of learn like the steps, like the intro, questions, personalization, pitch, close. And you're gonna be good in this, you'll be able to sell anything.
Awesome. Well, if you guys, I think we should wrap up the video. If anyone has any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll answer the questions in future videos or just reply to your comment, because your questions helps us produce better content for you. Until next time.